Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Hope for Humanity. Today, we're going to be talking about the big country of Mauritania. First is a quick facts. Mauritania, as I said very recently, is a very big country with 397,953 square miles, or over a million square kilometers. This makes Mauritania the 30th biggest country in the world and one of the biggest in Africa. You could also just say that it's a quite large country. Despite the large size, Mauritania has a small population. The population is a bit more than 4.5 million people, making it the 127th rank for population. This results in a small population density of a mere 11.4 people per square mile or 4.4 people per square kilometer. The majority of countries with similar populations to Mauritania have much smaller land areas. This is the reason for Mauritania's small population density. The main reason for this will be discussed in the following minutes of this video. Anyway, the life expectancy of Mauritania is on the lower side, but it's definitely improving, with a national average at 66 years. The literacy rate is also improving, the national average being estimated at 67% of the population being literate. Mauritania's history goes back many thousands of years ago, but during the medieval times, a couple of cities gained significance because they were important religious centers and trading centers during the trans-Saharan trade. After this, European exploration took place and France took hold of Mauritania as part of its French West Africa, and along with a lot of other countries in Africa, Mauritania gained independence in 1960. Also, quite coincidentally, the Ghana Empire, which we talked about in the last video, had land that covered modern day Mauritania and Mali. Therefore, parts of the wide expanses of land of Mauritania were once part of this very powerful kingdom. The reason for Mauritania's low population density is that the majority of the country is covered with large swaths of the Sahara Desert. Because of this, the majority of Mauritania's population live in the south of the country or near the coast. Speaking of which, the most populous city is actually the capital city of Mauritania, which is Nouakchott, and the city holds the majority by a lot. And second place is Nouadhibou, which is a cape city in the northeastern part of the country. More populations also live in the south of the country near the Senegal River, and very dispersed populations live in the deserted parts of the country. Around 57% of the population of Mauritania lives in urban areas. This population is growing. And also, an overwhelming amount of Mauritania's population lives in the capital city. Mauritania also has an abundance of interesting places. Many of these places are like treasure in the spans of desert that cover much of the country. Even though Mauritania doesn't really have an abundance of tourists because many government agencies discourage against travel to most of the country due to its potential dangers in the area, and that Mauritania may lack infrastructure to accommodate a lot of tourists. Mauritania still has a list of places of interest that can attract a certain set of tourists today, and that will always be interesting. First up is the four ancient cities of Wadane, Tichet, Shingueti, and Aulata. These cities were important nearly 1,000 years ago. These cities popped up during the time of the Saharan trade routes to serve the numerous caravans. Over time, these places became important trading and religious places for people who passed through the Sahara Desert. I would say the most talked about and famous of the four is Shingueti. The city still has a small population to this day and was very important as a trading center and religious center. The city also became an educational center with an abundance of libraries storing Islamic manuscripts. To this day, a few libraries safeguard more than 1,000 of these ancient Quranic manuscripts. Also tucked away in the Sahara, the Richat structure is actually coincidentally just a few of tens of miles away from the historic city of Wadane. This mysterious structure has been a topic that has cultivated years of scientific research. Also known as the Eye of the Sahara, this massive geological formation is so massive that you could see it from space, and the International Space Station has spotted and photographed the Richat structure from space. Mauritania is also home to potentially the biggest ship graveyard in the world and the Cape City of Nouadhibou. It's a really alien sight if you look at the photos, due to the wild expanses of wrecked ships just lying around in the bay. In Mauritania, you can also find a lot of interesting desert formations because places like the Dror Plateau are in Mauritania, yielding dramatic Saharan landscapes. This information considered, it would be fair to say that Mauritania has a lot of intriguing sites that are just unknown to so many people. And this makes me think, what else is in Mauritania that we don't know yet? Because there's just so little exploration to this country. And also, desertification in Mauritania is causing negative effects too. Because one of the negative effects of this desertification is a critical loss of fertile land, also the loss of cities. One of these is Shingueti. The city may be under the sand because of the encroaching Sahara Desert on the thresholds of the city. Unfortunately, the treasures of the city may be covered in sand if climate control isn't under place in a timely manner. And who knows what will be lost under the advancing desert. Mauritania is a developing country and could use some help with food security, distributing more clean water, more healthcare access, and the prevention of preventable diseases, education, and also equality, and eventually a reduction in violence. And until then, the aid organizations that function in Mauritania will help slowly make progress in Mauritania and help more people achieve a more comfortable living. And yes, it was a joy to research about this massive country, and I hope you found it nice to learn about this country. Until next time, this is Hope for Humanity.